Oh, hello and welcome to today's episode of Verses and Paragraphs. It is the 2nd of May 2018 and I'm surrounded by books. As you know, Verses and Paragraphs is all about books because in books you find verses and paragraphs. Yesterday was the 1st of May. I don't know what they celebrated in other countries, but in Nigeria it was celebrated as Workers' Day. You know, Nigeria, we love public holidays a lot. And so, of course, everybody was home yesterday. The streets were quite empty. Verses and paragraphs was not on. No, well, I was kidding that I was going to go to the stadium to go and march, but I didn't go. I don't even know what happened, Seth. I don't know when anybody went to go and march at the stadium. But today is the 2nd of May. It is nice, it is bright, it is beautiful, and as usual, it is hot. And yes, I can see you, Dr. Raphael James. I haven't seen you yet, but I can see your like. My brother from another mother. It's good to have you on the program. Today, we will still be talking about modal verbs. Diego Kayondo is watching all the way from Abuja. Thank you for joining our live broadcast. The farmer's daughter, Funke Awodia. I think you're watching from somewhere in Lagos. Thank you for joining. Mike Okri, I think you are joining from somewhere in the States. Thank you for joining. Mukhtar Bako Musa still doesn't want to tell me where he's watching from. Thank you for joining our live broadcast. And of course, my brother from another mother, Dr. Raphael James, is watching. Today I'm surrounded by books, so I'm in a bookish mood. Anyhow, on Monday we were talking about modal verbs. Modal verbs, like we said, are auxiliary verbs. And auxiliary means that they are helping verbs. And then we mentioned some of the modal verbs as, oh yeah, welcome Dr. Raphael James, as exist in English. And some of the modal verbs that exist in English are modal verbs and modal phrases. You have can, could, and be able to, may, might, shall, should, must, and have to, and then will and would. On Monday we talked about can and could. Today we're talking about will and would. So many people make mistakes with will and would, because I remember like last week, was it last week or no, on Monday, I put up two sentences. The speaker will come tomorrow and the speaker would come tomorrow. And of course, so many people chose the speaker would come tomorrow, which is not wrong because would is the past tense of will. And if you're talking about the future, you cannot use past tense. And so we talked about can and could on Monday, and today we'll be talking about will and would. There are also auxiliary verbs. Remember, auxiliary means that they are helping verbs. And auxiliary verbs are also known as modal verbs. They don't really have any meaning on their own, but act as helpers to give further meaning to other verbs. That's why they are called helping verbs. And you know all our regular verbs like jump, eat, scream, cry, run, laugh, play. So modal verbs, they are helping verbs to give further meaning to other verbs. And I'd already mentioned other modal verbs include can, could, shall, should, like I said earlier on, and they imply likelihood of ability, permission, obligation, request, offers, and the like. Now let's talk about will. Will is a definite statement, which means you use it when you are certain that the future action is going to take place. I will go and collect the mail in the morning. I will call Diego tomorrow morning. When you use will, you or the subject executing the future action is committed to it being carried out. So Diego, I will call Diego tomorrow morning. So Diego, get ready for your call. Then will can be used to talk about quick decisions, promises, offers, and a likely prediction. I think I would take the bus instead of walking. That is an instant decision, you know. You wanted to walk before, there's the option. Either you walk or you take the bus, and then you now decide. I think I will take the bus instead of walking. So you have used will as an instant decision. Then I'll get the dog washed tomorrow. That's a promise. I'll get you your bag of chips tomorrow. That is a promise. I'll get you some steaks and potato tomorrow. That is a promise. I will help you with your homework after dinner. That is an offer. So we are talking about will, using will to talk about quick decisions, describing an action that is expected to take place in the future. It modifies many verbs in their future tenses. For example, you will arrive at the airport at 10:15 a.m. Thursday morning and escort the ambassador back to the royal palace. So it has modified the verb in its future tense. You will arrive at the airport at 10:15 a.m. Thursday morning and escort the ambassador back to the royal palace. Okay, and we are back. We are back. The Wi-Fi was trying to conquer, but we are back. And I was talking about using will to modify many verbs in their future tense. So I talked about reconnect again. All right, we are back on again. I don't know what's happening. The Wi-Fi is coming and going these several seasons. Do stay out on the baobab tree, please. Don't stay on the baobab tree Wi-Fi. Please stay with us so that we can finish this broadcast. Now we've talked about will. Is also used as a first conditional, which is used for cause and effect in situations that are not changeable. If it rains, you will get wet. If you are late to work, you will get in trouble. I've mentioned first conditional, and I will talk about what a first conditional is later on. But right now, let's talk about will and would. Now, would has many different uses, which include invitations, requests, asking permission, talking about preferences, and making arrangements. Would you like to come to the lunch? You're talking about preferences by using the modal verb would in this case. And then, would Friday at 8 p.m. suit you, or Saturday at 6 p.m. would suit me? Ways to make. Why is it trying to reconnect? Okay, we're back again. All right. Now, would is also used in second and third conditional statements. I'll be talking about that later, which are used to talk about imaginary or unlikely situations. If I knew where he lived, I would visit him. That's unlikely. We don't know where he lives. And that's a second conditional statement. If I had known about the party earlier, I would have gone. That's a third conditional statement. And it's expressing an imaginary situation that took place in the past. Would also describe something that was in the future at the time of the original action, but is no longer in the future now. For example, Jane said she would pick up the pizza, said Eric. In this example, Jane made a statement in the past about her intention to pick up a pizza in the near future. However, Eric is now referring to the event from a point even further in the future. Jane said she would pick up the pizza. He was talking about something. Would is also a conditional verb. It indicates an action that would happen if certain circumstances were met. And now I'm sweating even though there's a fan. Okay. I would buy a dishwasher if you ever cooked us anything. So we are using would as a conditional verb. And it indicates an action that would happen if certain circumstances were met. So if you cooked food, I would buy you a dishwasher. Now here is a trick to remember the difference between will and would, so that we won't make mistakes. Like when I said the speaker will come tomorrow and the speaker would come tomorrow. Many people went for the option the speaker would come tomorrow. No, would is the past tense of will. And so the correct sentence is the speaker will come tomorrow. Now, this is a trick to remember the difference. Will is never past tense. It can be present tense and several different future moods and tenses, but never past tense. So if you're talking about the past, you can never ever say will. You definitely would say would. It can also be a modal auxiliary verb in various tenses. As a present tense verb, it can mean to cause something to happen, through force of desire. Would is a past tense form of will. It is also a conditional verb that indicates an action that would happen under circumstances, under certain conditions. I beg your pardon. Would is sometimes past tense. Will is never past tense. So that's what you need to remember. So when you say would, I would come tomorrow. No. I will come tomorrow. Because would is always, most times, past tense. Will is never past tense. If you're talking about the future, you use will. Would and will are both auxiliary modal verbs. And remember, auxiliary modal verbs are helping verbs. They help other verbs to give them some form of meaning. Will is used to talk about definite future actions. I will call Diego tomorrow morning. And it's a definite future action. I will call him. I will call him. So get ready for your call. Will is used to talk about quick decisions, promises, offers, and a likely prediction. Remember, I said I think I would take the bus rather than walking. That's an instant decision there and then. And then a promise. I will help you to do your no. I will help you to do your homework is an offer. And then I will bath the dog tomorrow. It's a promise. I promise to do that one. A likely prediction. I think. Okay, no, I missed out that one. Then would. All right, too. Esha Michelle Olua Feishayo Adilakun is watching. Thank you, Feishayo, for joining the live broadcast like a couple of centimeters away from me. Thank you so much for joining the live broadcast. She's in the same room with me. Thank you for joining the live broadcast. Then would is used to talk about invitations, requests, asking permission, and talking about preferences and making arrangements. I'm sure you remember some of the examples I will use. I'm even waiting to see some people give me some examples. Both will and would can be used in conditional statements. And I think I'm sweating. I think I need to mop my face. Okay. Oh, that's good. Diego says, I will expect the call because I have told him I will call Diego tomorrow morning. So he knows that I'm going to call him. So Diego has said, I will expect the call. Will is also used to signify a resolution, whereas would is usually not. Now remember, modal verbs are those verbs that imply likelihood, ability, permission, obligation, request, offers. They include will, would, can, may, shall, should, could. They do not carry any meaning of their own, but they do lend extra information about a subject or a noun when used in combination with them in a sentence. Now I was talking about first conditional statements earlier on. First conditional statement. So what is a first conditional statement? First conditional is used to talk about things which might happen in the future. If it rains, I won't go to the park. If I study today, I'll go to the party tonight. So you're talking about things which might happen, and that's first conditional in the future. If I have enough money, I'll buy some new shoes. She'll be late. She will be late if the train is delayed. It is possible. It will happen in the future. She'll be late if the train is delayed. She will miss the bus if she doesn't leave soon. So if she doesn't leave right now, if she doesn't leave soon, she will miss the bus. It is likely it will happen. So the first conditional describes a particular situation. If you sit in the sun, you will get burned. So that's the first conditional statement. If you sit in the sun, you will get burned, which is true. If you put your finger in the socket, you will get electrocuted. And then if you jump into a busy road where the cars are flying past, maybe let's say the expressway, if you jump into the expressway, you will get knocked down. You will get knocked down by a car. That's the first conditional statement. It is used to talk about things which might happen in the future. The second conditional talks about things I don't think will really happen, as opposed to first conditional, which describes things that I think are likely to happen in the future. If I jump into an expressway, I will get knocked down by a car. Okay, now let me give two examples. If she studies harder, she will pass the exam. Which I'm trying to say that I think it is possible she will study harder, and so she will pass. So that's the first conditional statement. Now here's the second conditional statement. If she studied harder, she would pass the exam. So that means that I don't think that she will study harder, or it is very unlikely that she will study harder. And so if she doesn't study harder, she won't pass. So that is the second conditional. First conditional talks about things which might happen in the future, while the second condition talks about things which are unlikely to happen. And it has two uses, the second conditional statement. First, we can use it to talk about things in the future that are probably not going to be true. If I won the lottery, I will buy a big house. I probably won't win. How many people win the lottery? If I met the Queen of England, I will say hello. How likely is that I will meet the Queen of England? So that's the second conditional. And then another one, she would travel all over the world if she were rich. Okay, how is she going to get rich? And then we can use it to talk about something in the present which is impossible because it is not true. If I had his number, I would call him. I don't have his number, so it's impossible to call him. So we have talked about the first conditional statement and the second conditional statement. First conditional statement talks about things which might happen in the future, while the second conditional statement talks about things which are quite unlikely to happen. As in, if I met Dangote, I will say, where and when I want to meet Dangote? Where will I run into Dangote? That is so funny. Anyhow, I hope we have learned something about the difference between will and would. Remember that they are both modal auxiliary verbs, but would is the past tense of will. Will is never ever past tense, it's always in the future. So I hope, and it's they can both be using conditional statements. And would is always used for invitations, requests, asking permission, talking about preferences and arrangements. And I gave you those examples. Let me go back to those examples that I gave you using would. We have, would you like to come to the party on Saturday? That's an invitation. Would you be able to post this parcel for me? That's a request. Would I be able to leave early today? As you're asking permission to leave. Would you like okra or egusi soup for lunch? Talking about preferences. And there you have would Friday at 8 p.m. suit you, or Saturday at 6 p.m. would suit me? And those are ways to make arrangements using would. So will and would are both modal auxiliary verbs. They are helping verbs, but would is the past tense of will. Abandi Ogbole, thank you so much. Coach Obi, thank you for joining our live broadcast all the way from Abuja. However, we're about rounding up now. We've been talking about modal verbs, which are auxiliary verbs, are helping verbs. And we're talking about will and would today. On Monday, we talked about can and could. Most of us will always make so many mistakes. And it's always so different, so difficult. But in a way, it's not our fault, because English in its own is a weird language. I posted up so many things on my Facebook page today talking about English language and the different things. And so if you would like to listen to this again, you can go back. When we finish, it will be posted on Facebook. Failing that, you can go to my YouTube channel. Type my name, Erimena Amata, and you will have so many of these and many others. Now, our word for today is very interesting. And it is Pococurante. Pococurante. It is spelled P-O-C-O-K. I made a mistake there. P-O-C-O-C-U-R-A-N-T. It's a noun. Pococurante. Pococurante, and it means a careless or indifferent person. A pococurante is a careless or indifferent person. But if you are pococurante, it means you care little, you are indifferent, or you are nonchalant. And I will hold up the word for you today. Pococuranti. Okay, Pococuranti back. Pococuranti. 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 Pococuranti means a careless or indifferent person. So if you are careless or indifferent to people's needs, or you care very little, you are nonchalant about what is going on, then you are pococuranti. And then I have a quotable quote for today. A quotable quote for today is to remind you to believe in yourself. And the quote is, all right, I am moving because I don't know why the Wi-Fi is misbehaving. Anyhow, let me just read this one. Our quotable quote for today is to remind you to believe in yourself. And it goes, courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. I'll take that again. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. Now, this statement was made by Bethany Hamilton. She's just 28 years old. She's an American professional surfer who survived a 2003 shark attack in which her left arm was bitten off, but who ultimately returned to and was victorious in professional surfing. She wrote about her experience in the 2004 autobiography, Soul Surfer, a true story of faith, family, and fighting to get back on board. And in April 2011, the feature film Soul Surfer was released. If you go online and you see it, you see her left arm chopped off by a shark. But this same person went on, and I checked it out. She won so many first positions, even with her left arm chopped off. And that is why she wrote this quote, to remind you to believe in yourself. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. And that is our quotable quote for today, to remind you to believe in yourself. Now, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined our live broadcasts from Abuja, from Lagos, from America. Where else again are they watching from? Somewhere in the north. Thank you everybody for joining our live broadcast. It was nice having you today. If you missed this one or you joined us late, please go to my Facebook page. You will see it. I'm going to post it up. Failing that, you go to my YouTube channel, click on Erumena Amata, subscribe, and you can watch everything. Thank you so much everyone for joining this live class. Thank you so much. Without you, I couldn't have done it. So I'll see you tomorrow by God's grace, 1 p.m. Bye-bye.